Hello and welcome to Barbatos Catholic Podcast, a show where two Mexican dads talk about faith, life, and culture. We are your hosts,
Gustavo
and Walter, and today we are going to talk to Sam Flanders from Verso L'alto Coffee Roasters about the Beatific within the everyday. Sam, welcome to the podcast. How's it going?
Good. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, we're excited to have you and jealous that you're wearing a sweater. It's super hot in Phoenix already. But, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah. California is nice in that way, where it's hot during the day and then it cools off at night. So
Nice.
Funny story. The first time that I went to Southern California, San Diego specifically, I just packed as if I was going to Phoenix during the summer. And I just had shorts and t-shirts, and I was very cold in the evenings.
Yeah.
So I had to
Oh my gosh.
buy a souvenir.
Even just moving down here, I was surprised because Santa Barbara is just surrounded by mountains, like foothill mountains, but still mountains, and it gets pretty cold. So you definitely button up at nighttime.
For sure.
So, Sam, for those that don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Whatever you feel comfortable sharing. If you're like a cradle Catholic, a convert to the faith, where you're from originally, where you live right now, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, so I was raised cradle Catholic. Both my parents were Catholic. They had a really intense conversion story, which is really cool. Funny part of that is my mom really wanted a Samuel in the family. And after the three girls, so I have two older sisters, she was like, we're done having kids. Samantha's our third, so we're going to name her Samantha. And, I've always wanted that. So they named me Samantha, and then they went through this massive conversion a couple years into marriage and decided just to be open to life and whatever God wanted. And so their next kid was a boy, and so they named him Sam. So there's a Samantha and a Samuel right next to each other.
That's pretty funny. Does Samuel go by Sam as well?
He goes by Sam, and funny enough, my nickname growing up was Manny. It's just, things evolve. So,
That's awesome.
I went to Sam until I got to school at Thomas Aquinas College, and everyone called me Sam right away. I just got on campus, and they were like, "Oh yeah, Sam Flanders." And then I was a senior when my brother came because we have 3 years apart. And when he was a freshman, they were like, "Wait, there's another Sam Flanders, and he's your brother? That is so weird." What was your mom thinking? I'm like, "Yeah, I know."
What are the odds? Well, that's funny.
The last letters of the name is a differentiate. It's like the importance differentiation between the two.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome that you went to Thomas Aquinas College. What did you major in?
So it's basically everyone comes out with the same liberal arts degree. So it's a double major in philosophy and theology and a double minor in math and science. So we all do the same curriculum over the course of 4 years. And we write a thesis our senior year. And it was such a gift in my life. I really appreciate that I was able to go there.
I was actually going to ask. My wife and I follow Mother of Divine Grace as a homeschooling curriculum, and Mother of Divine Grace was created by Laura Berquist. And Laura Berquist, I don't know if you know, but she was married to one of the founders of Thomas Aquinas College. So we're really hoping to be able to send both of our girls to Thomas Aquinas College one day. It's so beautiful, and the education, we find it to be very purposeful. So did that kind of inform the overall mission and your overall view when attending Thomas Aquinas College?
Yeah, definitely. I was raised after my parents' conversion, they consistently took us to daily mass in the morning as a whole family, and then every evening we'd pray the rosary together. And I truly believe that prayer and the sacraments is what's kept our family together. So far, 7 of the 9 siblings have attended Thomas Aquinas.
Oh, wow.
And
gosh, that's awesome.
My 8th sister is going there this fall. My parents are just so grateful for that. And 5 of my siblings have married spouses from Thomas Aquinas, and they have beautiful marriages, and also just keep the sacraments alive in their own family units. And I think that is just testament to the fact that Thomas Aquinas is like really instilling in people a love of the sacraments, like even through college, because I think that's a huge breaking point for a lot of students or college age kids when they're trying to figure out who they are and they finally leave home. Like, I don't know, Thomas Aquinas is an oasis for that. So
Yeah.
Yeah, for
such a
sure.
gift.
Yeah. Talking about an oasis, were you there when Sir Anthony Hopkins visited?
I was, yes.
Yeah, I saw that video, and just for context, I think he saw the bell tower from the distance. That's what drew him to campus. Is that correct?
Yeah, as far as I can remember, I was
Yeah.
just so stoked because my family grew up watching the Mask of Zorro, and when he came out with his video, I was like, he's here. So
This is not.
That's not the movie that comes to mind when I think of Anthony
I
Hopkins.
know. I
But
was gonna say,
but yeah, totally.
yeah, it was very funny. Yeah, I remember just being at that lecture because we had lectures almost every first Friday, and I feel like once or twice a month they do like a lecture on Friday nights. That's mandatory to attend, but they're either musical or someone speaking. But it's just everyone dresses up on campus and goes to them, and
That's beautiful.
yeah,
it sounds like a
it's
good
it's a
time.
little- it's a lot of
Mhm.
culture. They just bring in a lot of really amazing people that you can listen to, and yeah.
Yeah. And when
Yeah,
an
this is
Academy
amazing.
Award-winning actor just wanders into campus, yeah, you just ask him if he wants to talk.
I know. I'm so bummed. I was born in 1993, but apparently the year 1993, Mother Teresa gave the commencement address,
Yeah,
and
I saw that
which
on the website.
yeah, I'd
Mhm.
just been born 20 years earlier.
Yeah, you guys have had some heavy hitters there. The most recent that I know of is Bishop Barron, actually. So,
Yeah,
mhm.
yeah, which is cool. So the place where I live now is called the Elizabeth House in Santa Barbara, and it's kind of his baby. It was named after his mom and his right hand man, Deacon Chris. They kind
Mm.
of run the convent where I now live. So it's been a convent in Santa Barbara that's converted into young adult housing, but we
Oh
Oh
call it
wow,
wow,
that's super cool.
yeah. So
that's awesome.
yeah, so he actually came over like a month ago and did a house blessing for us, and it was just such a gift. Like we did a whole coffee tasting for him and showed him the machine, and yeah,
How cool
That
is
is
that?
awesome.
yeah.
So
So
Verso L'alto, if this is also rooted in Thomas Aquinas College somehow, right? Because if I remember correctly, your senior thesis advisor um, would bring students to do cupping sessions of coffee. Like he is a home roaster. Is that right?
yeah, yeah. Jared Kubler, he started the year after. So when I was a sophomore, he started teaching there, and he was actually my theology tutor for sophomore year. And yeah, he started having students down and would do cupping sessions. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm best friends with his wife's younger sister. We've
Okay.
been best friends for almost a dozen years now. And so I got like exclusive times with Jared,
That's
and
awesome.
Joanna and I would go down and like he would just roast for us, and he taught me all about roasting and just kind of the art and the craft behind coffee. Like I had never realized there was so much to coffee, and that it could be such a beautiful like expression of just like yeah, an art form. So
Hmm.
that was really fun.
Yeah,
That's
I
awesome.
was telling Gustavo that I feel like I'm treating the podcast as just an excuse to talk to people that I want to talk that I find interesting, and you're one of them because I've talked about my home roasting hobby, but sometimes it gets a little bit out of control. Like I just sent you a picture the other day of the 30 pounds of coffee that I just got in the
And
mail.
that made me so happy.
Yes, I'll have to send you a sample. We just exchange tasting notes from the different beans that we get. It was just a collaboration of Barbato's Pier Giorgio blend or something.
Great.
Uh,
Yeah.
but you started roasting coffee like in 2018 on a popcorn machine, right?
Yeah, is that how you started, or
I
did
I
you?
I got fancy and I got Fresh Roast SR 540.
Okay.
So I didn't do the popcorn machine. Like I feel like you went from like the popcorn machine to like Mill City Roasters, five
Yeah.
pan industrial roaster.
So, um, Mr. Kubler had a Beamer. So he started with a popcorn machine when I first met him, and he was doing popcorn machine. He was showing me like everything. And it's really funny because when I started, like you really can't do anything technical on a popcorn machine. It's basically just like plug it in, wait for the first crack, second crack, and then unplug it and dump it
Mm-hmm.
quickly and then dry it off. But I remember I was like taking extensive notes when I first started. And I was like trying to be like really like careful. And I remember like a couple weeks in, I called Mr. Kubler and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but the coffee just tastes like grass. Like I can't get anything more than just like grass. It's just like, oh, well, let's talk about your roasting. And I was like, okay, well, this is all these things. And apparently I wasn't taking it into the second crack. So I was just keeping it at first crack and just
Mm-hmm.
letting it like, which is like a really caffeinated, you're going to have a lot more of those intense, like grassy flavors, like not a lot of like your chocolatey, like
Mm-hmm.
nice undertones. And so once I had called him and just kind of like evened everything out, like the coffee tasted a lot better after that point.
Nice.
But yeah, it was interesting. My sister and I, so I lived with my older sister, Hannah, and she's married to John Richard. And so they graduated 2 years before me
Mm-hmm.
at Thomas Aquinas. And we all lived together in San Jose. But when I graduated school, I moved to New Zealand for a year, working as a caregiver for an elderly woman. And then when that year was up, like I kept extending my visa several times, and finally New Zealand was like, "Okay, you got to go back. You're done." And so I was like, "I don't know what to do." And Hannah's like, "Well, just move in with us." And so I ended up moving in with them and staying with them for 3 years. Because Hannah and I we're very close. We have a very close sister relationship. We always have had, and I guess surprisingly, we worked really well in a home together. And Johnny and Hannah were always like my best friends at TAC. They kind of were like the older kids that included me as a freshman, and I felt very loved by them.
That's amazing.
But yeah, we kind of started roasting coffee together and just like taking the moments in the morning when the kids were in their nap or something to just have coffee together and start talking about it. And then we got fancier and we kind of started making gift bags for people and putting them in packages. And so then people like would text us or email us and be like, "Hey, can we buy that coffee? We really loved it." And we were like, "No, no, no, it's just a hobby. We only do 4 ounces at a time. Like it's a lot of work." And then it got to a point where one of our friends, she and her husband loved it so much they offered to buy us a little roaster if we could be their full-time roasters. They were like, "You just roast the coffee, we'll get the beans." And so I ended up just like that just like started turning the wheels in my head, and I was like, people love this. Like we should actually just go big or go home. And so I don't know if you know the Schneer family, Hope and Justin Schneer. They're a big. They went to Steubenville, and they have like a family band. They have like 9 kids, and they write
Okay.
music together. But they're like a really beautiful couple. They've been my mentor couple for many years. But Justin's like a really amazing entrepreneur. He just starts businesses and lets them go. And so I ended up going to him and just being like, "Look, I would really love this, and like, what do you think?" And so he like drew up a plan for me and was like, "Yeah, like I'll put you in contact with this guy named Andrew Whaley, who's also a Thomas Aquinas grad, and he started his own coffee shop in Ventura. He actually started the coffee shop that is now Century Coffee in Ventura,
Okay.
California. And so yeah, it's just cool. Like so many different connections with people you meet. And Andrew Whaley just recommended he loves Joe Morocco, who's the main roaster or was previously the main like green buyer and roaster at Mill City Roasters. He's now doing his own thing. But
Okay.
are you familiar with Joe Morocco?
Not at all. All those names are
No.
unknown to us. I know Mill City Roasters because they're in Minnesota.
Yeah, they're in Minnesota. So they custom built our machine, which is really
Oh,
cool.
sweet.
It is made in the U.S. Like that just made me so happy,
Yeah,
That is awesome.
I even looked at because sometimes I get crazy ideas in my head, and Gustavo can attest to that. That like we should start a podcast, and the other one being like we should buy a industrial roasting machine and put it in my garage and start Barbato's Coffee Company. That had crossed our minds, or mostly my mind. But So is the roaster in Hannah's and Johnny's home?
So previously, yeah, it was at their home. We had a little studio space, and then they ended up moving to Florida,
Oh, okay.
in December or in January, and I moved down here to Santa Barbara. So it's
Got it.
the Elizabeth House, which is really
Nice.
fun. Yeah.
So this is my
Sweet.
luggage and my roaster. Just gonna hook up the pipe to the exhaust and
Yeah.
Where can I plug this in? Can I just?
No, it was well. So my really good friend Alexis Stipa, she manages the house, and she works at a architecture firm here in Santa Barbara. And so Bishop Barron and Deacon Chris asked her to kind of manage the house and fix it up. And sort of, we want this house to be a model for other properties across America, like Catholic properties that aren't being used, that they can turn
Mhm.
into young adult housing. Where, like, we have a private chapel in our
Mhm.
house, and it's just beautiful. Like, we can go down there and be with Christ anytime during the
Wow.
day. And it's kind of similar to
St. Paul Outreach.
what?
To St. Paul Outreach, SPO.
Yeah, it's similar to that. It's just like a beautiful way. Like, we each have our own little cell, because this was previously a convent that hasn't been used in a long time, and the diocese was just going to bulldoze it, and they were like, let's just do young adult housing. And so, yeah, we each have our own little cell, and it's this place is like 2 stories with a huge 3-car garage, which we turned into a speakeasy place. So it has
Nice.
one side a bunch of couches and a place for us to like hang out and play, and the other side, and maybe we'll get a billiard table or something. I don't know.
That's
Sounds
beautiful.
pretty
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So it's just such a gift to live here. I really love it.
Oh, I bet. We we talked a little bit about the team, but it seems like right now you're doing the whole operation now of Verso L'alto
The roasting.
and the
Yeah.
getting the beans and all
So
that.
yeah, Hannah, she's my main person for anything like on the website, or like when you have to write up emails or words or something. She's really good at that sort of thing. And that's always been her sort of expertise, is more of like the aesthetics part of our brand.
Okay.
Mhm.
I do a lot of just the manual labor. Like, I love working with my hands. And somebody asked me the other day, they're like, "Are you just sick of like packaging coffee yet?" I'm like, no, I still love it. Like, to me, it's just such a joy. Like, I just picked up 600 pounds of beans in Oakland, and I can't wait to
I'm
just try these
sorry.
new coffees.
Did I hear you correctly? 600 pounds of coffee?
Nice.
600 pounds of coffee. Wow.
Yeah, so we have a new Yirgachef that I've never tried before, because,
Mhm.
I mean, I don't, as you know, like, coffee's like per harvest, so we just
Yeah.
go by what's season.
Available.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I picked up a Brazil, Yirgachef, and a new Peruvian that I've never tried before. So I'm really excited to roast those tomorrow, and then just kind of like figure out like, yeah, different profiles for them and what we're trying to get out of them. So
Beautiful.
And you describe yourself as you are like a weekly. You're a roaster during the week, but you're a Sherpa during the weekend. And if you people that are listening at home check out the Instagram page of Verso L'alto, you'll see why. Like that part of like it was that part of the reason that the brand was associated with Pier Giorgio Frassati or Blessed Pier Giorgio Frassati.
yeah, definitely. It was like a really beautiful moment in my life, but I've always, I feel like in the last, I don't know, six years, I've had a very quiet devotion to Blessed Pier Giorgio. Like, it wasn't even on my heart, or really like any. He wasn't someone that I like, you know, kind of went to for intentions or like thought about that much. But back in 2016, fall of 2016, I was working on a winery in Washington State, and on the way driving there for the harvest season, I stopped at some friend's house, the LaFave's house in Montana, and Mrs. LaFave very beautifully put like chocolate and a prayer card of Pier Giorgio on my pillow. And I had never heard of him before. But the next morning, like over coffee, I was like talking to her, and I was just like, "Who's Pier Giorgio?" And then she just like told me a story and started telling me about his life. And ever since then, I just like kept that prayer card, and I was just like, I had this like really beautiful, like very quiet devotion to him. Like he was just always sort of like in the back of my mind, and I never talked to people about him. Like it wasn't like I was trying to like evangelize or do anything really. But it just spoke to me. He really brought God to me through nature and through the mountains, and just like seeing, like when you look up and just see the mountains, just knowing that God created them and things like that. Like I love being in nature, and like I was saying, my best friend Joanna Kaiser from Thomas Aquinas, she and I did the communion together, and we also went and worked in Haiti with the Missionaries of Charity for a while.
Wow.
And just
That's awesome.
experiences like being, yeah, like just being able to like do those trips and find God in different parts of the world in His creation. It was like really cool, and I feel like part of the reason when I started looking more into it was Pier Giorgio also brought people to God through his creation. Like he was just like, let's go skiing together, let's go climbing together, and you know, we'll come back and we'll, you know, and I don't know. I like to think that he had this magnetic temperament, like personality, and people were just drawn to him because he was just exuding so much joy and love for God. Like that's Pier Giorgio in my mind.
I mean, there are
Well, kind of like you
him,
right now.
Yeah,
yeah.
There's an anecdote of him like gambling in the billiards table at a bar or something
Yeah.
for someone to come to mass if he would beat him at billiards.
Yes.
So
yeah, that's awesome.
I know. And
well, I think. Go ahead.
Oh, it's like really cool. We were able to serve coffee at the Napa Institute last summer, and I actually met. I don't know if you've heard of the Wotiwa camp in Denver, but the couple that runs that, she's sort of like a distant relative of Pier Giorgio, and so she was like,
oh, wow,
Pier Giorgio coffee, like she was like telling me all these
man.
stories about him, and it was so beautiful. Like I heard so many of these like quiet little stories that I'd never heard before, and it was really cool meeting her. But yeah, one of them was just like the billiards story. I hadn't heard that before, and then the other one was she was saying that he loved chocolate, but he was very temperate, so he'd only have like one piece. So hopefully, like what I'm working towards right now is a coffee box we can do where we put in like a piece of chocolate, but we'll put that story of Pier Giorgio and yeah, just kind of like talk about him through that, and yeah.
It's so interesting to hear you talk about nature, you know, and just finding God in the mountains and his creation. Another one that was very, very like that was St. John Paul II. He would take young couples and in hiking trips and in like into the mountains, you know, and I think you put it so perfectly, you know, that to look at that and to know that God created that for us, it's just overwhelming at certain points, you know, especially if you are sharing that with somebody. Like you said, you went to Haiti and all these different places where you are exuding joy. You know, just by talking to you right now, we can tell that you're a very, very contagious and energetic person. I'm assuming, you know, that's what Pier Giorgio was. You know, he was just like this, like charismatic, energetic, loving, joyful person that loved nature and loved God, and God bless you for that. You know, because I think that's like Walter said, it's contagious, and that's what really draws people in to the faith. You know. So that's so awesome that you were able to do that. Yeah.
And especially if you can drink a cup of coffee first thing in the morning and then remember about a wonderful blessed. Can you talk a little bit about what a coffee moment is?
Yeah. I guess, do you want to know where it came from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like, I love this story, but my Hannah and I, my sister right directly above me. There's one other sister above her, but Hannah and I were always like very, very close growing up, and I really idolized her. Like I remember she would like say something funny, and I'd write it down so I could use it later. Like things like that. When she left for college, I cried for like 2 weeks, and it was like the hardest thing for me when she left. And I was always a really artsy kid. I loved doing painting and was really into acrylics at that time. And we were homeschooled growing up, and so my mom, we had this little loft that wasn't really used in our house, and it was kind of like tarped off because it was like really cold in winter time for Iowa, and so I kind of like would go up there, and that was my like little like reclusive place where I could paint in the mornings before starting school. And it was my senior year when Hannah left, and so mom decided, she was like, you know what, Samantha's a senior. Like, she's like, she doesn't have to do dishes anymore. So, so she started bringing me coffee every single morning that I was like up there painting. And she would come up and she just checked in with me. And those moments just turned into hours. Like, mom and I would talk for like an hour every single morning. And she was just like checking in. She knew it was really hard for me with Hannah being gone. And um, ever since then, we just kind of coined the term as a family, like, this is our coffee moment. And we still do it to this day. Like, every day after mass, like, my parents still take my younger sisters to the 7 a.m. mass, and they come back and they have a coffee moment. We sit together. And if it's wintertime in Iowa, we'll be inside. But if it's outside, we like have this porch, and my mom just keeps, every time she comes back from California, she brings like bags of succulents, and then she just plants them in pots and brings them in for the winter. But our porch is just like covered in these succulent pots, and we just sit out in them and drink coffee and talk about, I don't know, stuff. And I think that really helped our family life just be as close knit as we are, and also just sort of like Hannah and I started thinking about it. We were like, that really set our day. It set the tone for just like, like preparing your heart, and preparing, like, right after receiving Holy Communion, you come back and you're with your family and you're like talking about these things, and you're just like enjoying each other and having a laugh. And sometimes it wasn't an hour, sometimes it was over an hour, but we love anytime our family gathers now, which I'm really excited about. My younger sister's getting married in a week and a half, and my whole family's coming out here. So we'll do it out here. Like, I know every morning it's just going to be like the coffee moment, and everybody gathers and watch.
Wow,
That's
that's a
beautiful.
beautiful family tradition. That's fantastic. I feel like my wife and I's coffee moment is like more like grunting in the morning, trying to make a Chemex so we can wake up. But I really am going to steal that idea, even if we can only do it once a week. Um,
Yeah.
I really love the philosophy of Verso L'alto. Um, that that line that you have on the website saying, we adopted the motto of Verso L'alto because it dares us to embrace the simple life and to unearth the beatific within the everyday. I just thought that was so profound to unearth. Is like you have to go to nature, right, to like get it out
Hmm.
of the soil, to get that beatific, that joy, that now we are seeing, and uh, we're experiencing talking to you. Um,
Hmm.
this is I lost my train of thought.
No, also where it says we believe that it is good for the soul to find joy in the methodical, and that profound satisfaction comes from performing small tasks. Very Saint Therese, you
Yeah.
know. And for me, it's about that intentionality. I was looking at the mini documentary you guys have, which everybody should just go watch that. Pause this thing right now and go watch that mini documentary at Verso L'alto Coffee Roasters.com. And that you say, do we wake up in the morning to drink our coffee, or do we drink our coffee to wake up? That is, again, if your sister Hannah is doing your copywriting, I'm an art director, and I work in marketing. So for me, lines like that really make a lot of sense, and they speak to me.
Mhm.
So what walk me through the thought of that? How come you came up with this very, very profound, and the intentionality behind it? It is just really, really nice.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely all Hannah. She's amazing with words, and just, I think, just like understanding what I want to convey. and that's why we work so well together, because like I'm not an aesthetics person really. Like I've never been very good at it. But Hannah's like, it's her gift. I think it's just one of her gifts that she has. And she also like I loved living with Hannah and Johnny, and I really am sad that that time is over. That
Hmm.
season is over. But Hannah and Johnny as a couple have a gift of hospitality, and
Mm.
just sort of like making like the world stops when people walk in their door. And I think that Hannah like understood like what like through all our talks and through everything that we wanted to sort of brand ourselves as, she was like, we want people to just like, and everybody wants this. Everybody wants to just slow down
Hmm.
and just kind of
Yep.
like not let the world just like catch you up, and you're like, where did that month go? Where did May go? Like, you know, time just flies so quickly. But if you kind of like reset yourself every morning, and maybe you were hoping to get your prayer time in before the coffee moment and it just didn't happen because you were taking care of kids. And I think Hannah understands that really well, because she has a beautiful servant's heart. And like it was just really inspiring living with her. Like I'm so grateful for that time, and I really look up to her as a mom and a wife. And
Hmm.
um, just I don't know, like we always tease each other that we were the Martha and the Mary of everything. Like she's so good at just when people walked in the door, like time stopped, and it doesn't matter if the house was messy or anything. It was just like she had the gift of hospitality, and it was just like this warm heart and this welcoming, opening, like finding the joy with the person with you, and finding that like the love of, you know, like I mean, every single person that you encounter, that is the beatific. That's who God has given you in the moment. And I think Hannah understands that so well. Whereas I'm like, is it Martha? I think Martha's just like always trying to like work on everything and do everything.
Hmm. Yeah.
Smith, that people are here, like, come on.
Just sit
Here's
at
your
the
drink.
feet. Okay. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
yeah.
love that part of like slowing down. I feel like 2020 was a year that everybody slowed down because we were forced to. Um, but were you like doing the sourdough and the gardening and the pickling and fermenting, all of those things even before that? Was that part of your daily life?
Yeah, so I had started sourdough actually when I was in New Zealand. My oldest sister lives in South Australia.
Hmm.
She married a TAC here as well, who is from Australia, and they moved back there, and they have 5 kids now. When I was living in New Zealand, I would go to visit her a few different times, and in the different times, she started showing me this method that she learned from her sister-in-law, who owns a bakery in Texas.
Oh wow.
And like I took it back to New Zealand and shared the starter with all my friends, and then I brought it back to California and shared it with Hannah, and then we started giving classes to other people about it, and it was like it was kind of just this like dominoes effect of everything. And um, the same with like our kombucha. Like I've been making kombucha ever since I was in college, like so long ago. And I remember when I first saw kombucha, I was like, "What is that?" Drink that thing. And then as I learned more about it, like I got really into it, and I still love it to this day. We have like several gallons going right now at the Elizabeth house. Like me and Alexis and Sandy all like make kombucha together. Um, it's like really fun. So it's kind of just like that gift that you can just share with others and kind of enjoy together.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean, it takes time to make all of those things. I really got into the kombucha making and the sourdough during the lockdowns and
Yeah.
whatnot. But then we gained like 20 pounds and we had to stop. The coffee roasting was the only thing that was prevalent. I think Gustavo was recipient of like maybe a half a dozen loaves of sourdough during
Totally.
that year.
And very, very delicious cinnamon rolls as well.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
nice.
Yeah. And what
Yeah.
were the ones that you did for like St. Lucy's, Walter?
Lucicater buns.
Yeah,
Well, that's
those
the
are
other thing.
good.
Like, I joke about making a book, Baking with the Saints, because there's drinking with the saints already.
Oh,
So it's
yes.
just like the
Mhm.
tradition of like uh, treats and baked goods to celebrate feast days. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll see.
You should throw TM every time you say that from now on.
I know.
Just
Baking with the Saints trademark pending.
I love it. Liturgical living. We should all be
Right.
doing.
Yeah.
totally.
Try to do that. Again, like now that you said that your siblings and you were homeschooled, it's like, okay, I can see that. Like
Hmm.
you almost, because of the how you describe your relationship with Hannah, you almost make me want to have a second daughter, so my Lucy can have a sister. Just saying. Don't tell my wife that I said that. She will probably talk to me about it when she
I
listens to this
my
episode.
siblings. I'm one of 9, and every single one of them, we are so close knit. They are my best friends. I would do anything for them, and
Hmm.
I cannot wait to see them in 2 weeks. And yeah, I'm excited to just share that with other people too. Like, um, it's very fun. Like, I don't know. I would recommend.
Were you all 9 homeschooled?
Yes. Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, God bless
Yeah.
our parents.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And most of us have gone to TAC so far. So by the grace of God.
That
Nice.
is quite an undertaking, and a very, very, it's a testament to your parents as uh, just the leaders of your little domestic church,
Yeah.
because it really shows that you very tight knit. The way you speak about your siblings, and all the things that you do, all the different talents that you guys have that complement each other. It's just so beautiful to see. I mean, we're lucky enough to be able to homeschool as well. And like I said at the beginning, I'm like doing everything that I can on my part to be able to send them to Thomas Aquinas College. Because I know that there's like the proof is in the pudding. You just go read what the alumni are doing, and it's just like, oh my gosh, it's just such an amazing testament of what a good
All good fruit.
classical Catholic education can do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, let's talk about. You said that you just got 600 pounds of coffee today. What can we expect from Verso L'alto in the near future? I know that there's a subscription box that people can sign up for. Tell us the whole spiel. Like, plug everything that you want people to know about the coffee and the merch and everything.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, we love coffee, so I really enjoy. We definitely have my favorites, like Yirgacheffe and the Ethiopian coffees. I really gravitate towards. I'm not sure what do you love to roast?
I'd like to taste all kinds of coffee, but Yirgacheffe,
Hmm.
for those that haven't had single origin coffee, is very tea-like. It has tea properties, and it has very these like complex. Well, I don't know if I would call them complex flavors of like this acidity that is citrusy and floral, depending on the bean, but for the most part. Um, but I sometimes I gravitate towards Colombia or Mexico coffee because it's more chocolatey. I really love chocolate as well. So if I can make
Hmm.
my coffee taste like chocolate, that's a plus. Um,
Yeah,
so that's kind of what I do, but I don't mind Ethiopian coffee at all.
yeah, we definitely have our stable of a Brazil that um, it just pulls like we don't add anything like any flavors to the coffee, but it pulls like a peanut butter taste. It's incredible. It's so good.
Wow.
That's definitely like our most popular coffee by far. Um, and I do love recommending Ethiopians to people, but I know that like not everybody's gonna love a light roast. I think it's more. I think you just have to have a more acquired taste because people love to
Hmm.
put milk and sugar, which I generally will just drink my coffee black because I really love tasting the different notes in
Complexities,
it
yeah.
and stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, we do have a subscription based. So we're working on subscribers. Our goal is, yeah, just to kind of like build up our subscription base and be able to sort of like rely on that for who we market to. But we also love doing events. So we're doing 5 weddings this summer where we bring our pour over bar and we're going to have, like we just had a wedding last weekend that we did coffee favors for. I just did 200 coffee favors for a wedding coming up this weekend. We'll actually get to go to, and then we have 3 more coming up. So that's like very fun. Um, Yeah, we
Nice.
were able to do this conference in LA and then the Napa Institute last summer. So yeah, just
Busy.
yeah, I love doing those events because you meet so many. Like coffee is such a grounding. Like
Yes.
you could talk to anybody about coffee. Like
Yep.
Hmm.
it's like really fun. So
Your guys' tagline is amazing too. Again, Walter is the coffee nut, and I'm like the words and
The
advertising
marketing.
nut. Fresh roasted coffee for a well grounded life. You
yeah,
just
that's all.
knocked it out of the park with that one. Beautiful.
Yeah,
You can get the
Hannah's definitely.
beanie and the trucker hat in the
Yep.
website.
It's great,
Yeah,
man.
and we have these camp mugs. Our next product is going to be a just cute little camp cup, like a little aluminum one that you can kind of clip onto your backpack. So I'm excited for that.
Sweet.
What's the
Sweet.
name
Yeah.
of the stove the camping stove that you use to boil water when you're camping?
Oh, the jet boil.
Jet boil.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, jet boil is
That's
amazing.
nice.
I had gotten like different stoves. Like I've been through. I love camping. Love doing just packing everything in my backpack, even when I do hikes, so that I can make coffee wherever I end up at the
Mhm.
destination. And I went through a lot of different camp stoves off Amazon and different stores that were cheaper. But then I don't know. Finally went all out and got the jet boil, and it's so nice.
It's a game changer.
Nice.
And I really
It
appreciate
makes
that. And I really appreciate that you're also team inverted AeroPress. So
oh,
we have that in common. Um,
great.
so it makes really good coffee.
It
Um,
does.
okay, so check them out. There is the mini documentary in Verso L'alto Coffee Roasters.com, and you can also buy the coffee and the merch in there. Um, there's also this. You were featured in L.A. Catholic Story that the diocese of the Archdiocese of Los Angeles did profile on you. That it's also really fantastic. We'll put a link to that one as well. Um, and any closing comments that you may have for everybody that's listening?
Just I don't know, just I guess shout out to all the people that have helped us get this far. Like Chuck Adams filmed the documentary for us, and he's just a genius at film. That like he did such a beautiful job of just kind of putting together exactly what we wanted to convey to people. And he's a up and coming film um, artist, and he just graduated from the JPII Institute in San Diego. So really appreciate him and his older sister's super supportive of our business. I'm really good friends with Maggie, and we have one other video by another film guy who found us, Jake Hart. He's also a really wonderful, talented Catholic film. So if you check out both those people,
That's great.
That's
Yep.
good to
yeah,
hear. We love that. All the
Yeah,
little
we're
people.
always looking. We're always looking for to connect with talented people, that are doing good things with their God given talents. So thanks for filling up the Rolodex for us.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'll send you their numbers.
that's awesome. Yeah,
Well, Sam, it has been a great pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much for being generous with your time. We really appreciate you taking the time to come on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was nice meeting you guys.
thank you so much.
And thank you for listening to this episode of Barbato's Catholic Podcast, the show where two Mexican dads talk about faith, life, and culture. If you like the podcast or got something out of this episode, please share it with your friends and family. Subscribe, like, comment, rate, and review if you have it. If you don't like the podcast, just keep it to yourself and let others make their own mistakes. Go to direct.me/Barbatos to check out the show notes, social media, and how to support the podcast, and more. And Blessed Pier Casey, pray for us.
Pray for us.
Until the next time.